I'm Martin, and I'm in charge of the OVHcloud Deloitte partnership, which began in 2017. And today I'm with Arnaud Pignard. Arnaud, welcome.
Hello, I'm Arnaud Pignard. I am responsible of the Kubernetes service platform for Deloitte France, and I have about 25 years experience in managed service.
So today, Arnaud, you will present us a part of your multi-cloud managed services environment and how you used it to build a hybrid and multi-cloud strategy for one of your Eastern customers. And in order to do so, you brought us a use case that will show us first how you can leverage 3 different cloud provider services to build a solution. And second, how you use Kubernetes to minimize the complexity of the project and its architecture. So before we start, can you please introduce us the Deloitte Digital Factory in France?
Digital Factory in France is responsible for all managed service to the customer business. And we are part of a more big practice at Deloitte, where we have about 20,000 good practitioners all over the world. We are also grant top cloud provider managed service from Gartner this year. And we have operate a lot of platform between all over the world on the public cloud.
So Arnaud, back to our topic. First of all, can you please explain us what was the purpose of the project?
This project is to move from multiple environment authentication to a global centralization of the identity management of the customer. The customer currently have multi-type environment, multi-type ITS service, and we need to centralize all the data in one place. And also where you have complexity when you grow to get just one point of centralized data.
So what was the challenge to build the final solution here?
There was several points was quite difficult because the customer have, like I said, a lot of platform, a lot of country. The platform is that we have built need to cover 3 continents, about 12 countries, and 4 time zone. So that's quite large platform with also some difficulty on the regulation parts. In Europe, you know, we have RGPD, and we also, for the customer, need to get compliance with Russian law, where all customer data need to be stored in Russia. Based on that, it's need very high SLA because all his IT system is based on this platform, and we need to reach 99.99% of SLA. That's 4 minutes time maximum per month. So that's a very interesting project that need to be very high availability, and also the help of the multi-cloud to be able to deliver the service.
So strategic project for your customer. Why did you implement this solution and how did you do it?
First part, I will focus on the network because the network is the first layer when we have a global platform to handle. Currently, the customer haven't a global platform, and as many don't cover worldwide. So on this service, we go to managed service. So this is all handled by Deloitte. And we have to find a good way to connect to all good provider and also to the customer building and data center. That's one point where it's quite difficult because SLA is still very high, and we need to build a very strong and very resilient platform to cover all countries. And even more, where the country is from Ireland to Russia and going to France, Germany, and many other countries. We base on this platform on the different partners like Equinix and Zayo that connect to OVHcloud, Azure, and Amazon. And the difficulty when you have different cloud providers is to be able to make talk to each other. And also, if we just deliver one platform to one customer, we have to build it another time. So on this platform, we have to get a more high level to do VRF. It's we said segregation. It's hybridization and segregation of network with virtual network. For example, on the service we deliver, we can have the same address IP for a second customer without any problem. And that's a big challenge for all cloud providers because basically when you have a network, it's just for one IP subnet. And that's some point we have to address outside the SLA that also is very important on this project.
Okay, so based on that, what are the key benefits for you as a partner and for the customer?
For us, that's one thing that OVHcloud helps us quite a lot on the platform is that we, as with VRAC, connect easy to connect outside of the world of OVH. We have this also on the public cloud provider, but with OVHcloud, it's bundled as all services. We have to connect from the public area and very high level speed on the private area. So that one point is more important is the speed. We have 10 gigabit link on all network parts, and it's covered as well. If we have server in France and Germany, we have a basic 10 gigabit between the server without bidding of the transit. The second part that is important outside the network is, I would say, the middleware, but it's, I would say, Kubernetes. Kubernetes is one point that helps us to reach the challenge. It's help us, it's a different layer because when you want to go multi-cloud, you have to think that each cloud provider will be maybe different and different way to handle different NAT, public network, and also if you look at OVHcloud, you have VLAN or VRAC. At some other cloud providers, it will be VPC with some different limitation. So that's one point. So that's outside the network that need to be addressed. And this Kubernetes help us a lot to handle that. Outside that, there's one point very important is the SLA we have on the project. The SLA we talk is not on the network part, it is on the application part. And even OVHcloud or Azure or Amazon just limit on the infrastructure part. And we have an engagement with the customer with the SLA on the application part. So if we just limit to the cloud provider, we are in failure in terms of deliver the SLA. So Kubernetes permits us to add another layer on the network for help us to be more hybrid, but also to have a better resilience on the application. So what we build about 12 customers for this customer on each cloud provider that is resilient between data center for OVHcloud or between cloud provider side AZ on Azure. So if one data center go down, the application is still alive. And that's very important because all cloud providers have downtime. It could be OVH, Amazon, Azure. This year, all players have an issue, and last year that's the same, and so on. So we have very strong SLA on this project, and only rely on the cloud provider SLA is not enough. So add Kubernetes for your project help us to get very strong SLA, and also we say on the net application part, also add a lot of new features that permit to have more flexibility on the management.
Okay, and now let's talk about the application.
Yes, for the application, there is many parts that we have to handle because we don't manage the application itself. It is the IMS team, the application managed service team that's under this part. So we have to help them to industrialize and automate the platform. So this is DevOps. And for DevOps, it's very important to address all the area that we need to handle on the automation based on the SLA we have to deliver to the customer. For that, as we're running, as I said before, Kubernetes, we can upgrade each component without any downtime. That's done with we use it for all automation. Launcher is an orchestrator that permits to manage all cloud provider Kubernetes platform. With that, we can upgrade, downgrade, roll back very easy all the infrastructure and application platform.
So Arnaud, now regarding all you said, what is the real game changer here?
For Deloitte, this service permits us to upgrade the platform we have and flexibility to deliver managed service or CMP, Cloud Managed Platform. We are now able to deliver a very strong SLA for each customer. And also we have a different way to handle all the services, all hybridation. For OVHcloud, we have put all the core service team that's what's logging, monitoring, and redundancy for the backup on one point. We do that because OVHcloud have some different design of billing that is way more interesting to use OVHcloud than any other cloud provider. They don't bill for traffic. We have many 10 gigabit link all over the world. And that's one point that also is very interesting when you have to sync multi-cloud because you have also a lot of data that will be exchanged. The other way that is also to permit us to address more ways to deliver the service with Kubernetes and the ease of deployment and the fast deployment of the service. For all service we deliver, it's like a catalog of service, so now we are able to deliver any application on any cloud provider the same way. That's very important because if you go to Azure, OVHcloud, Amazon, you don't have the same way to deploy. If you look at Terraform, or if you do Ansible or any other technology, it won't match exactly the same. And today, the skills of each company is difficult to get very strong people. So move to Kubernetes also permits to any business to be enabled more fastly and move on different cloud provider as needed, or when you go to multi-cloud to be able to address that part very more easy.
Okay, so you build the solution in the most efficient way possible. So now what are the outcomes?
What permits us now to deliver is to be able to provide different service where the customer need. It could be on-premise, private cloud, or another cloud provider. The second part is the infrastructure at global scale. We can deliver the service everywhere in Europe and could be also outside Europe with the infrastructure and segregation we do on the network. The last part also is the ease of and the flexibility we can now deploy platform as a service with the different layer we include with Kubernetes and also with traditional way on all cloud provider, including OVHcloud.
Great, and thanks to this solution, we improved our common experience, and it will allow us to develop more and more our partnership in the future. Thank you very much, Arnaud. And now question and answers.